Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Enlightening texts 1, 2 and text 3 of chapter 29, Explanation of Devotional Service by Lord Kapila of 3rd Canto, the status quo of Srimad Bhagavatam. Texts 1, 2. Devhuti Ruvacha Lakshanam Mahadadinam Prakruteha Purushasya Cha Swarupam Lakshate Amisham Yen Tata Parmarthikam Yatha Samkheshu Kathitam Yanmulam Tata Prachakshate Bhakti Yogasya Me Margam Bruhi Vistarashah Prabho. Devhuti inquired, "My dear Lord, you have already very scientifically described the symptoms of the total material nature and the characteristics of the spirit according to the Samkhya system of philosophy. Now I shall request you to explain the path of devotional service, which is the ultimate end of all philosophical systems." In this 29th chapter, the glories of devotional service are elaborately explained and the influence of time on the conditioned soul is also described. The purpose of elaborately describing the influence of time is to detach the conditioned soul from his material activities, which are considered to be simply a waste of time. In the previous chapter, Material Nature, the Spirit and the Supreme Lord or Super Soul are analytically studied, and in this chapter, the principles of Bhakti Yoga or devotional service, the execution of activities in the eternal relationship between the living entities and the personality of Godhead are explained. Bhakti Yoga devotional service is the basic principle of all systems of philosophy. All philosophy which does not aim for devotional service to the Lord is considered merely mental speculation. But of course, Bhakti Yoga with no philosophical basis is more or less sentiment. There are two classes of men. Some consider themselves intellectually advanced and simply speculate and meditate, and others are sentimental and have no philosophical basis for their propositions. Neither of these can achieve the highest goal of life, or if they do, it will take them many years. Vedic literature therefore suggests that there are three elements, namely the Supreme Lord, the living entity, and their eternal relationship, and the goal of life is to follow the principles of Bhakti Yoga or devotional service and ultimately attain to the planet of the Supreme Lord in full devotion and love as an eternal servitor of the Lord. Samkhya philosophy is the analytical study of all existence. One has to understand everything by examining its nature and characteristics. This is called acquirement of knowledge, but one should not simply acquire knowledge without reaching the goal of life or the basic principle for acquiring knowledge, Bhakti Yoga. If we give up Bhakti Yoga and simply busy ourselves in the analytical study of the nature of things as they are, then the result will be practically nil. It is stated in the Bhagavatam that such engagement is something like husking a paddy. There is no use beating the husk if the grain has already been removed. By the scientific study of material nature, the living entity and the super soul, one has to understand the basic principle of devotional service to the Lord. Text 3. Vira go yen purusho bhagwan sarvato bhavet achakshava jivalokasya vividha mama samasruti ha. Devhuti continued, "My dear Lord, please also describe in detail, both for me and for people in general, the continual process of birth and death, for by hearing of such calamities we may become detached from the activities of this material world." In this verse, the word Samasrutiha is very important. Shreyaha Srutiha means the prosperous path of advancement towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Samasrutiha means the continued journey on the path of birth and death towards the darkest region of material existence. People who have no knowledge of this material world, God and their actual intimate relationship with Him are actually going to the darkest region of material existence in the name of progress in the material advancement of civilization. To enter the darkest region of material existence means to enter into a species of life other than the human species. Ignorant men do not know that after this life they are completely under the grip of material nature and will be offered a life which may not be very congenial. How a living entity gets different kinds of bodies will be explained in the next chapter. This continual change of bodies in birth and death is called sansar. Devhuti requests her glorious son Kapil Muni to explain about this continued journey to impress upon the conditioned souls that they are undergoing a path of degradation by not understanding the path of bhakti yoga, devotional service. Hare Krishna.